I don't think I've seen anything like it since Messi.
He's the chosen one.
Yeah.
He's the chosen one after Messi.
The best player in the world right now is Lamine Yamal.
I think he's the best player in the world, to be honest.
The 17-year-old, I think, is doing things that no other 17-year-old's ever done in football. Think at the moment. I don't know if there's anyone more exciting to go to a stadium and watch right now.
Per la parada mundial, la passada a l'esquena per Lamine Yamal, es frena en sec, Lamine carrega la cama, aguanta Lamine, prova el xut, gol, 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 gol.
Here's the thing that nobody tells you. Yamal's game is not just about raw talent that you either have or you don't. His style, his movement, his decision-making, all of it is built on specific habits, specific skills, and specific ways of thinking about the game. And in this video, I'm going to break down exactly 7 of them. This is not one of those videos where we just watch highlights and say, wow, he's good. We're going all the way inside his game. By the end of this, you will have a complete picture of how he plays, why it works, and what you need to actually start doing to add pieces of it into your own game. Let's go. Yamal's dribbling looks improvised. It isn't. There's an underlying logic to everything he does with the ball at his feet, and once you see it, you cannot unsee it. He plays on the right wing for Barcelona, but he is left-footed. That means when he receives the ball wide on the right and cuts inside, he is cutting onto his stronger foot. This is the same positioning principle used by Arjen Robben, by Lionel Messi when played on the right, and by Mohamed Salah. It is one of the most dangerous things a winger can do, because the defender knows it is coming and still cannot stop it. But Yamal adds something on top of that basic principle. He controls his dribbling speed with extreme precision. When he has the ball in space, he does not sprint immediately. He slows down. This sounds wrong. Surely you want to be fast? But watch what happens. By slowing slightly, he forces the defender to choose. Come close and risk being turned, or hold off and give him space to shoot. The moment the defender makes a micro-decision, Yamal reads it and accelerates into exactly the gap that opens up. The technical term for this is tempo change, and it is one of the most underrated skills in football. Here is the actual breakdown of his most used dribbling sequence. He receives the ball, opens his body to survey the options, takes 1 or 2 relaxed touches while the defender adjusts, then executes a sharp directional change, usually a step over or a small chop at the outside of his left foot, and bursts into the space at full speed. The fake is not the move. The burst after the fake is the move. The fake is just the trigger that tells you which way the space will open. For you to work on, find a cone or any marker. Walk towards it at about 60% pace. Do a body feint one direction, then explode the other way as hard as you can. You're not training the fake. You're training the explosion after the fake. That is what beats defenders. Repeat this until the explosion is instinctive. 20 repetitions per session, every session. Within a month, you will notice the difference. Before Yamal even touches the ball, he has already won half the battle. Watch him when he receives a pass. Most players stand facing the player passing to them. Yamal almost never does that. Instead, he positions his body at an angle, somewhere between 45 and 90 degrees open to the pitch, so that the moment the ball arrives, he can see down the line, see the space in behind, and see what's happening behind him before he even has to turn. This is called an open body shape, and it sounds simple. It is not simple. It takes an enormous amount of deliberate repetition to make it automatic. Here's why it matters so much. When you receive the ball facing backwards or square onto the play, you're blind. You get the ball, you have to control it, then look up, then decide. That's 3 steps. Against a high-level defender pressing hard, those 3 steps take about 1 second. 1 second is all it takes to get dispossessed. Yamal collapses that into a single moment. He has already looked. He has already decided. The ball arrives, and he's already moving. In one game against Atletico Madrid, there was a sequence tracked by Barcelona's analysts where Yamal received the ball 11 times in the first half. In 9 of those 11 instances, his first touch went forward or sideways in a positive direction, immediately retaining momentum. That does not happen by accident. That happens because of body shape. So here is the drill. The next time you are in training or in a passing exercise, consciously angle your body before the ball arrives. Face slightly away from the person passing to you, so your chest is open to the pitch. It will feel awkward at first. That feeling means you're learning. Within 3 weeks of doing this consistently, your first touch will improve dramatically, not because your technique got better, but because you started thinking half a second earlier. This one is important because people talk about Yamal's left foot like it is some kind of magical thing he was born with. Partially true, but here is what is also true. Yamal spent thousands of hours as a child at Lamine Yamal, Barcelona's famous academy, working specifically on his weaker foot. He was identified early as predominantly left-footed, which for a right winger is an asset, but he was still pushed to develop both feet to a good standard. His left foot has 3 distinct qualities that make it elite. First, his curve. When he shoots or passes with the inside of his left foot, the ball bends in a way that is genuinely difficult to replicate. This is partly technique and partly the way he wraps his foot around the ball at the point of contact. He strikes it slightly off-center, hitting the inside left portion of the ball, and his ankle is locked firmly downward at the moment of contact. The result is a clean, whipping rotation that curves sharply late. Second, his weight of pass. Yamal's through balls are threaded at exactly the right pace. This is the skill people underestimate most. A pass that is too hard forces your teammate to chase. A pass that is too soft gets cut out. Yamal has developed a feel for weight that comes only from repetition, specifically from practicing the same pass at different distances hundreds and hundreds of times until the calibration becomes instinctive. Third is first-time shooting. He can strike the ball cleanly first time from awkward positions, meaning with little to no backswing and from a ball arriving at uncomfortable angles. This is extraordinary technical ability, but it is built from one single exercise. Receive a pass, shoot first time, without controlling it first. That is the whole drill. Do it from different angles, at different speeds, and over time your contact becomes clean even from difficult positions. If you want Yamal's left foot, here is the program. 50 passes against a wall with your strong foot every day for 2 weeks. Then switch. 50 passes against the wall with your weak foot every day. You'll hate it at first. That is normal. After 4 weeks, your weak foot will feel entirely different, more like a tool and less like a burden. Yamal does not just see the ball. He reads the game 3 to 5 seconds before everyone else. Here is the clearest example. Before a teammate receives a pass, Yamal is already scanning the space. He is checking. Where's the defensive line? Where's the midfield gap? Is the fullback in front of him or behind? He does all of this before the ball even reaches his teammate. So when it does arrive and comes to him, he is not reacting. He is confirming a decision he has already made. This is called anticipation, and it is something you can train. The number of times Yamal scans per minute during a match is remarkable. Studies of professional players show that the very best scanners, players like Kevin De Bruyne, Thiago Alcantara, and now Yamal, turn their head to check their surroundings every 2 to 3 seconds on average. Lower-level players do it every 6 to 8 seconds. That difference means elite players have twice as much information at all times. You can literally count this during a game. Watch a YouTube clip of Yamal for 5 minutes. Count how many times he turns his head to check over his shoulder or glance sideways when he does not have the ball. The number will surprise you. To build this habit yourself, during training or a match, set yourself a rule. Every time you know you are about to receive the ball, check over both shoulders first. Just once each side. That's it. Make it a ritual. Over months, it becomes unconscious. Your awareness will expand in a way that feels almost like a different experience of the game. There is a well-known coaching principle. The best players do not just react to what is happening. They react to what is about to happen. Yamal lives in that space constantly. Everyone sees the goals and the dribbles. Almost nobody talks about this part. Yamal runs hard, very hard. In La Liga 2024-25, he is consistently in the top group for high-intensity sprints per game among attackers. He covers between 9 and 11 kilometers per match, which for a wide attacker in a possession-based team is a significant amount. He presses from the front, He tracks back when Barcelona lose the ball, and he does it with intensity that a lot of technically gifted young players simply do not bother with. This matters for two reasons. First, the tactical reason. Barcelona's system under Hansi Flick requires the wide players to press aggressively when the team loses possession. If Yamal does not press, the opposing fullback or center back has time to play out of the press, and the whole structure breaks down. He understands this and executes it. At 18, that tells you something about his football intelligence. Second, the physical reason. When defenders see a winger who tracks back and works hard, they respect it. It means that same winger is harder to ignore when he does drift forward, because they know he is a defensive problem as well as an attacking one. Yamal is not just a luxury player who hides without the ball. That makes him vastly more dangerous when he has it. For you personally, the next game you play, count how many times after you lose the ball you make a run to press or recover. Be honest. If the answer is fewer than 10 times in a full 90 minutes, that is something to fix. Work rate is not talent. Work rate is a choice. And making that choice consistently is one of the biggest things that separates players who progress from players who plateau. This chapter might be the most important one for younger players. Yamal made his debut for Barcelona in April 2023. He was 15 years old. Within months, he was playing in Champions League matches. Within a year, he was at the European Championship representing Spain at 16. At any point in that journey, one bad game, one moment of poor confidence, one heavy defeat could have affected his mental state in a way that changed his development. It did not. Why? Part of it is the environment at La Masia, which is specifically designed to develop mental resilience alongside technical skill. Players there are not just trained to kick a ball. They are coached on how to handle mistakes, how to communicate on the pitch, and how to maintain composure when things go wrong. But Yamal has also spoken about this himself in interviews. He talks about focusing only on the next action, not the last one. If he loses the ball or misses a chance, he does not carry it. He resets immediately. You can see this in his body language. There is no head down, no visible frustration that lingers. He simply continues. There's a very specific psychological technique behind this, used by performance psychologists who work with elite athletes, called the reset cue. You create a physical trigger. For some players, it is clapping their hands once. For others, it is a specific breath or a word they say internally. And every time something goes wrong, you use that cue to signal to your brain, that is over, we are moving on. This sounds simple. Try in your next game. When you make a mistake, physically clap your hands once hard and take one deep breath. That is your reset. Then put your body into the next action before your mind has time to spiral. Yamal's composure in front of goal is also something separate. He rarely rushes when it matters. Against France in the Euro semi-final, the moment he received the ball in that position, the situation was huge, 1-1. Late in a semi-final, the whole nation watching, and he struck it cleanly, calmly, into the top corner. That composure is earned through simulation. In training, great players practice pressure scenarios specifically so that high-stakes moments feel familiar rather than alien. You do not need a full stadium to simulate pressure. Ask a teammate to count down from 5 out loud while you take a shot. Ask your coach to watch specifically when you do a drill. The feeling of being watched and evaluated replicates a version of match pressure that helps your brain adapt. Let's talk about the physical side, because there are specific traits Yamal has developed that are completely trainable. Yamal is not a physically huge player. He stands at about 180 centimeters and weighs around 73 kilograms. He is not the fastest player in La Liga. There are players who would beat him in a straight 40-meter sprint. So what makes his physical game so effective? 3 things: balance, acceleration, and strength-to-weight ratio. His balance when dribbling is exceptional. He can absorb contact from a defender without falling, keep the ball under control, and continue his movement. This comes from his low center of gravity and from core strength that he has built specifically to withstand physical challenges. You can watch clips of him being pushed, shoved, and physically challenged by much bigger defenders, and he stays on his feet more often than not. To build balance like his, single leg squat exercises, 3 sets of 10 per leg, 3 times a week. Stand on one leg, bend your knee to lower yourself slowly, not all the way to the ground, just to a 45-degree bend, then return to standing. It is basic, it is simple, and after 2 months, you will notice your ability to stay upright under contact improve significantly. His acceleration is elite level. The speed he generates in the first 3 to 5 meters is faster than most professional players can reach. Short burst acceleration is trained differently from top-end speed. For top speed, you run long distances fast. For acceleration, you do short explosive sprints from a standing start. The drill: 5 meters, standing start, maximum effort, walk back, repeat 10 times. Do this twice a week. After a month, time yourself over 5 meters at the start of a session and again at the end of a month. The improvement will be noticeable. Finally, flexibility. Yamal's hips are flexible enough to execute changes of direction that other players physically cannot do. Hip flexibility is one of the most neglected aspects of a footballer's physical preparation. 10 minutes of hip mobility work after every training session, lunges, hip circles, lateral stretches, will change how freely you can move on the ball within 6 weeks. It sounds boring. It is boring. It also works. So there they are. 7 real, specific, practical things that Lamine Yamal does that you can actually work on. Open body shape when receiving. A dribbling system based on tempo changes and explosive acceleration after the fake. A technically elite left foot built through obsessive repetition. The ability to read the game 3 seconds ahead through constant scanning. A work rate that makes him a complete player, not just an attractive one. The mental composure to reset immediately after mistakes and perform under pressure. And a physical foundation built on balance, short acceleration, and hip mobility. None of this is out of reach. Not for you. Yamal is 18 years old and already one of the best players on earth. Part of that is exceptional natural talent, and there is no point pretending otherwise. But the habits we have gone through in this video, those are learnable. Those are buildable. And the earlier you start building them, the more of his game you can actually bring into yours. One last thing before you go. Pick one thing from this video. Just one. The open body shape, the reset cue, the weak foot wall work, the scanning habit, whatever feels most relevant to where you're right now. Focus on just that one thing for the next 3 weeks. Drill it until it is automatic. Then come back and pick the next one. That is how Yamal got here. Not by trying to improve everything at once. By mastering one habit at a time, consistently, over years. If this video helped you, subscribe because we go this deep on every player. Drop a comment telling me which of the 7 secrets you're going to work on first. I read every single one. See you in the next one.